Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. Today I want to talk about Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. Kaveh Akbar is an Iranian-American poet and writer. I've heard good things about this book circulating online with many people recommending them, so I ordered them and then I waited and waited some more. This was before Israel and then US attacked Iran, and finally last week at around 26 June 2025, the book arrived along with a few other books like Noah Chomsky Manufacturing Content that has been on my wish list for a while. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and let's dive into Martyr. Cyrus Shams always felt that life was unfair. This is coming from a guy who lives in poverty and the only thing he have are books from libraries that he never returned. But he also thinks that it's unfair that figures in Quran have it easy with their faith. They either have an archangel visit them or have burning bushes talking to them with voice from God themselves or itself. Meanwhile, he and the rest of modern people have to have faith based on nothing. But one day, while high on weed and other chemicals, he asked for a sign out loud. He asked them to his own empty room, and either the drug is working really good or it is a sign. But the light bulb became brighter before it dimmed back to its warm yellow, like the pea stain on his bed. He asked God to repeat the message just to double check if it was real or not, but nothing happened. 2 years later, still in the same Katy university he's studying at, he's been busy working as a medical actor there, acting like a patient that a student doctor there can practice to give difficult news to. The pay is not that bad, $20 per hour with 15 hours a week, and what he liked the most about the job is how many different characters he can perform while working there. He told his roommates, the big new Ramadan Novak or Z, a Polish Egyptian, that the experience will be good for his writing, although his roommate disagreed. Z is worried that it will bring Cyrus back to his old habit that he left a couple of years ago. But Cyrus do want the money, so he ignored him and went to the hospital, and this time, the student that is to train with him is a younger girl named Montfort. She looked like a well put together rich lady who failed to get to a better school, who is born to get married to other rich people, which she will openly despise and enjoy a life he'll never have. He instantly judged and hated her based on her look alone and made the training extra hard for her. But in the moment of trying to embarrass her, for some reason he shared with her a real experience he had when he was about to kill himself. He poured alcohol on himself and was about to light himself on fire, but he had a moment of clarity when he drank the rest of the alcohol and realized that he'll burn the entire apartment along with him if he light himself on fire. It was around that time that he decided to go sober and started going to AA meeting to help himself out of his alcohol addiction, but the pain is still there, dropping all the time. Although Montfort didn't do well during the test, he responded well with that story, and out of embarrassment, both from sharing his personal story and both for taking out whatever his issue to this stranger, Cyrus gave her a good score and escaped out of the hospital. In 1998, a civilian airplane, Iran Air Flight 655, was shot down by American warship USS Vincennes, killing all 290 people on board the plane. The US-owned investigation claimed that they were innocent. Back to present day, out of the hospital, Cyrus went to an AA meeting. He usually just sit there silently, but because of what he did at the hospital, he decided to talk. Talk about being sad, talk about being shitty, talk about how useless talking is, and when he wanted to talk about how people at the meeting might want to deport him outside of this meeting, he got scolded for raising an outside issue. Gabe, his sponsor, invited him to go talk after the meeting. Cyrus has shared everything with Gabe, how his mother died for nothing along with other 300 East people in the sky, how his father died cleaning chicken shit in a corporate farm with no one knowing who he is, how he has sucked dicks. Gabe listened to Cyrus talk, trying to steer him clear from drinking, albeit in his own awkward way, but Cyrus was too angry at himself, at others, at the world, at God, at anything and everything. He's so angry that one of the veins in his eye popped out and blood started forming there. So he walked away from Gabe, swearing to steer clear from the AA meeting and from Gabe. Cyrus has always been angry since he was a baby. Angry about having to go to sleep, angry about having to wake up. His father Ali worked extra hard to raise him as a single father because Cyrus' mother was dead along with all the people on board Iran Airplane 665, dead along with all the other dead along with all the other 289 people, dead along with all 65 children on board the plane. Ali also grew angry and tired from losing Roya, from everyone's pity and anger, from having to care for Cyrus alone. He started smoking, he started drinking, and when he saw a flyer for a chicken company to go to America, he took it just to get away from the country that constantly reminded him of the pain. He brought Cyrus with him and raised him there. He still drinks mostly at night, and sometime on his drunken walk, he hits Cyrus. Life becomes so solitary for Cyrus at home that he started making up characters and having them talk to each other. He started writing stories in his head. It's how he got into the literature department at Getty University. He stopped doing it when at university he started drinking and doing drugs and has only started again recently when he started abstaining from them. The next day, after his fight with the AA group and Kid, Cyrus went on a lunch with Z and their friend Seth James, and Cyrus started talking about what death means, what being a martyr means, what giving meaning to your death means. As Honing Purna song said, did hiatus his pola. And it just happened that there is an artist in New York that is doing a dead speak modern art, talking to people at a museum on her last moment from having breast cancer. With a push from his friends, Cyrus decided to use some of the money America gave him from killing 290 civilians on the plane to go to New York. He came to the museum and talked to the dying artist Orchideh, an Iranian-American woman herself. He talked about martyrdom like Joan of Arc. He talked about how unfair it is if he died sacrificing himself, killing a dictator. He won't be called a revolutionary American leftist, but he will be called a terrorist because of America Orientalism. He talked about wanting to write about martyrdom and about her. Orchideh calmly responded to him, inviting him to come back tomorrow if they are both still there. They met 2 more times after their first meeting, but as short as their meeting was, it became a very important meeting for both Orchideh, the dying artist, and Cyrus, the artist that wanted to write about meaningful death. The book consisted of many short chapters, and in every chapter of Cyrus' current ongoing life, there are stories of his father, his mother, his uncle, flashback of their lives in between his story, but it somehow never bothered the progress of Cyrus' story. It's one of the stories where time felt like it was flattened, and we see their life like we see Cyrus' life. It is one of the best stories I've read that gave us a look inside the different kind of Iranians that Western world usually paint in a single brush stroke as Arabs despite them being Persian who speak Farsi. The history of modern Iran is a history of Western imperialism and mostly American imperialism. In 1942, Soviet, British, and Iran made an agreement where Soviet and British forced Iran to use their place to fight against the Nazi. After World War II ended and the Nazi was defeated, the Soviets upheld their agreement and take their forces out of Iran. The British didn't. They stayed there to take Iranian oil. The Iranian, of course, eventually fight back because it is their land and it is their oil that the British is stealing from them. The British, being overwhelmed by the people fighting for their freedom, seek help from America that was in their genocidal warpath against communism at that time, and together they stage a coup against the democratically elected prime minister so they can have their puppet in charge. This won't be the last time they intervene. Eventually, America becomes so cozy there after they place a lot of corrupt governments in power in Iran that they have an operating CIA office there that have their own US dollar official printing plate to bribe them easier. This was before wire transfer, so it's cheaper to print the bribe money there instead of shipping them. The youth, the student, as usual, is the first people that is so done with how their country being run by American puppets, so they goes on a protest that is suppressed until they have to escalate into attacking the CIA office there. The US will name this event the Iran hostage crisis. It's a crisis because it's illegal for the CIA to operate there. The CIA, in panic, tried to burn and shred all the documents they've accumulated there for decades of neo-colonialism style of operation, but the student collected all the tiny papers and eventually put them together into documents that they made public if you want to read them. The history of Iranian is filled with moments like this. Even recently, Israel and America bombed Iran first, and when they countered, they were called violent among other names as every blame was placed to them instead of the one who threw the stones first. So I'm glad that there are stories so well written, like the story of Cyrus and Roya, of Sang and Orchideh, of Cyrus and Z. And I'm glad it is one of the most beautiful stories I've read this year, exploring not just Western imperialism and Orientalism that is more and more important to talk about as they only got worse and worse with Western conservative and liberal normalizing Islamophobia. But it's not just that. The book is also a very well written story of loss, of grief, of love, and having been loved, and a conversation on that we as a society seriously need to do more. I give this a 5. What do you think? I mean, a 5 is anything, so leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it. See ya.